The next side heading will be features of Indian economy. Under the features of Indian economy, we will see the strengths of Indian economy and the weakness of Indian economy. First, let us see the strengths of Indian economy. First point is India has a mixed economy. What do you mean by mixed? In India, we have the public sector as well as the private sector. These two sectors coexist and function smoothly. So, Indian economy is a typical example of mixed economy. We see the coexistence of both the private and the public sectors. For example, if you take schools, schools are owned by private sectors. Christian school or the Daffodil school, Maharishi school, these are all private schools. We also have the public sector schools or the government schools. Ashok Nagar Government School, MKB Nagar Government School. So these are owned by the government. So children who are willing to study in private sector schools, they can go to private institutions. At the same time, children who want to study in government school can study in government school. Similarly, in the medical sector also, we have private hospitals as well as government hospitals. Aisha Hospital, SIMS, NIOT, Bilroth, Vijaya Hospital, these are all private sectors. It is owned by private individuals. We also have the government hospital, GH, the Kilpauk Hospital, the Crumpet Government Hospital. So people who want to have treatment in the government hospital can go to the government hospital. If they prefer private hospitals, they can go to private sector hospitals. Similarly, even in transport sector, we have the public transport, the MTC. Or if you want to take individual private sector buses, you can use Parvin Travels, PKG Travels. We have many travels like that. So in India, we have the private sector as well as the public sector. On one side, some of the fundamental and heavy industrial units are operated by the public sector. Due to liberalization in 1991, the private sector has gained importance. So India is a perfect model for public and private partnership. Second point, agriculture plays the key role. So agriculture being the maximum pursued occupation in India, it plays an important role in the economy as well. Around 60% of the people in India depend upon agriculture for their livelihood. And 17% of our gross domestic product today is contributed by the agricultural sector. So agriculture plays a key role in the Indian economy. 60% of the people are dependent on agriculture for their livelihood. Next one is an emerging market. India has emerged as a vibrant economy, sustaining stable GDP growth rate even in the midst of global downtrend. So it is an emerging market. Many countries want to make their investment in India. India has attracted significant foreign capital through foreign investment, foreign direct investment. People want to invest in Indian market because the Indian market is an emerging market. It has got a stable GDP growth. Next is emerging economy. Emerging India is an emerging economy, emerging as a top economic giant among the world economy. India backs the 7th position in terms of nominal GDP. We have already seen that. India is one of the largest economy and its position in the world is 7th with respect to gross domestic product. World nation in G20. What do you mean by G20? It is a group of 20 countries. We have 19 individual countries and we also have the European Union. So G20 means it is a group of 20 countries. It is a forum for the governments and central bank governors. G20 is an informal gathering of many of the world's largest economies to discuss economic issues. And India happens to be a member of G20. G20 nation was formed on 26th September 1999. Since India is an emerging economy, India has a place in the G20 world nations. That is a group of 20 countries, 19 individual countries along with the European Union. Next is fast growing economy. India's economy is well known for high and sustained growth. Indian economy emerged as the world's fastest growing economy in the year 2016 and 17. So Indian economy was considered to be the world's fastest growing economy in the year 2016 and 17 with a growth rate of 7.1% in GDP, which is next to People's Republic of China. Fast growing service sector. The service sector contributes a lion's share of the GDP in India. We have three sectors: the primary sector, the secondary sector, and the service sector. So there has been a high rise growth in the technical sectors like information technology and BPO. These sectors have contributed to the growth of the economy. So we have the service sector growing very fast. Initially, it was the agricultural sector. Then later on, it was the industrial sector which was contributing more to the GDP. Now it is the tertiary sector, otherwise called as the service sector, which is growing very fast and contributing more to the GDP of India. Large domestic consumption. With a faster growing rate in the economy, the standard of living has improved a lot. The standard of living of the people in India has definitely increased. So as the standard of living increases, the domestic consumption in the country also increases. When the income increases, the standard of living increases. When the standard of living increases, the domestic consumption also increases. So the standard of living has considerably improved and the lifestyle of people in India has changed a lot. When we were small, we had only fans, we had only tube lights, and we had only the ordinary stove. But nowadays, every home has got air conditioner. For cold water, we will have only pots, mud pots. But nowadays, we have fridges. Every house has a fridge. Then you have TVs. So there is a large domestic consumption because the standard of living of the people has increased. People no longer use stoves at home. They are using induction stoves, or when I talk about stove, it is not the wick stove. அந்த காலத்தில் திரி வச்சிருந்த அடுப்பை தான் நாங்கள் யூஸ் பண்ணுவோம். But now we have the gas stoves or the induction stoves. Then we have the washing machine. So the lifestyle of the people has changed. So there is a increase in the domestic consumption. The standard of living has changed. The income has increased. The consumption has also increased. Next is rapid growth of urban areas. Urbanization is a key ingredient of the growth of an economy. There has been a rapid growth of urban areas in India after independence. What do you mean by urbanization? We have already seen that. It is an increase in the proportion of people living in towns and cities. That is, more number of people from the villages are moving inside the city because city has got all facilities. Employment is more in cities. Standard of living is high. So people want to have a better lifestyle. They are moving from villages to cities. So there is a rapid growth of urban areas, improved connectivity in the transport and communication, education and health have speeded up the pace of urbanization. In the cities, we have good hospitals, you have communication facilities, you have good education, health facilities is more. So people from the villages, they prefer to stay in cities. So there is a rapid growth of urban areas. Next one is stable macro economy. The Indian economy has been projected and considered as one of the most stable economies of the world. Indian economy is one of the most stable and fast growing economies in the world. Last point is demographic dividend. So we are going through the strengths of Indian economy. We have 10 side headings here. The last point is demographic dividend. The human capital of India is young. This means that India is a pride owner of maximum percentage of youth. When you see the population of India, youths are more in India. So India is a pride owner of maximum percentage of youth. ஒரு நாட்டில் வாலிபர்கள் அது யூத் நிறையா இருந்தாங்கன்னா அங்கே வந்து ஸ்கில் ஜாஸ்தி இருக்கும், அங்கே வந்து க்ரோத் குவிக்காக இருக்கும். ஏன்னா யூத் தான் என்னது எல்லாத்தையுமே நல்லா குவிக்காக செய்யக்கூடிய பொட்டென்ஷியல் யார்கிட்ட இருக்குது? யூத்தில் இருக்குது. வைப்ரண்ட்டாக இருப்பாங்க, ஆக்டிவாக இருப்பாங்க. ஸோ ஒரு நேஷனில் யங்கர் ஜென்ரேஷன் நிறையா இருந்ததுன்னா அது வந்து ஒரு அசெட் ஃபார் த கண்ட்ரி. The young population is not only motivated, but they are skilled and trained enough to maximize the growth. So human capital plays a key role in maximizing the growth prospects in the country. And India is blessed with a maximum percentage of youth. Since the percentage of youth is more and there is rapid growth in India, this has invited foreign investments to the country and outsourcing opportunities too. So these are all the strengths of Indian economy. India has a mixed economy. Agriculture plays the key role. An emerging market, emerging economy, fast-growing economy, fast-growing service sector, large domestic consumption, rapid growth of urban areas, stable macro economy, and demographic dividend. So let us see question number 25. Question number 35. Explain strong features of Indian economy. So that is the question given in part D. It is a 5-mark question. If this question is asked, the answer is the strengths of Indian economy. You have to write all the 10 points. If you're going to write all the 10 points, you can write 2 or 3 sentences explaining each side heading. Sometimes they will ask, explain any 5 strengths of Indian economy. In that case, you can select any 5. If they ask, write the strengths of Indian economy, you have to write all the 10 side headings, and beneath every side heading, you can write 2 or 3 sentences. Next one is weakness of Indian economy. So what are the weakness? Large population, inequality and poverty, increasing prices of essential goods, weak infrastructure, inadequate employment generation, and outdated technology. So these are all the weakness of Indian economy. First one, large population. Do you know the population of India now? It is 138 crores. India stands second in terms of size of population next to China. And our country is likely to overtake China in the near future. So India is the second highly populated nation. It is next to China. So population growth of India is very high, and this is also a hurdle to the growth rate. The population growth rate in India is as high as 1.7 per thousand. The annual addition of population equals the total population of Australia. Every year, the addition of population is equal to the total population of Australia. அப்படின்னா நீங்கள் யோசித்து பாருங்கள், பாப்புலேஷன் எப்படி இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆகுது. நம்ம கண்ட்ரியில் ஒவ்வொரு வருஷம் இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆகிற பாப்புலேஷன் தான் ஆஸ்திரேலியா நாட்டினுடைய ஃபுல் பாப்புலேஷன் தான். அப்போ எப்படி ரேப்பிட் இன்க்ரீஸ் இன் பாப்புலேஷன் பார்த்துக்கோங்க. The annual growth rate of population is 1.2%. Next is inequality and poverty. You see inequality and poverty in India. There exists a huge economic disparity in the Indian economy. The proportion of income and assets owned by the top 10% of India goes on increasing. So the rich are becoming richer in India. This has led to an increase in the poverty level in the society, and still a higher percentage of individuals are living below the poverty line. But actually the poverty started decreasing in India. It was initially 21.9% in 2012. Then it became 7% in 2017. That is people who are living below the poverty line. So as per 2017 statistics, 7% of the population in India are living below the poverty line. Next is increasing prices of essential goods. This we have been experiencing every now and then. Even during the lockdown, the essential commodities, onion, tomatoes, the prices of onion came to 200 rupees per kg. So there is a increase in prices of essential goods. Even though there has been a constant growth in the GDP and growth opportunities in the Indian economy, there has been a steady increase in the prices of essential goods. So the prices of essential goods are increasing. That's why we have the public distribution system, PDS, ration shops. Essential goods are given at subsidized price for people through the PDS. Next is weak infrastructure. Our infrastructure is very, very weak. That is power, transport, communication, storage. We have to develop in all these areas. So even though there has been a gradual improvement in the infrastructural development in the past few decades, there is still a scarcity of basic infrastructure like power, transport, storage, etc. Next one is inadequate employment generation. With growing youth population, there is a huge need of the employment opportunities. The growth in production is not accompanied by creation of job. The Indian economy is characterized by jobless growth. There is growth, but many people are unemployed. The Indian government is not able to generate employments. ஒரு நாடு வந்து என்ன பண்ணணும், ஒவ்வொரு வருஷமும் பாப்புலேஷன் இன்க்ரீஸ் பண்றதுனால புது புது வேலைகளை கண்டுபிடிச்சு மக்களுக்கு கொடுக்கணும். பட் இந்தியன் government is not able to do that. There is inadequacy in employment generation. So Indian economy is characterized as jobless growth. There is growth, but many people are jobless. Next one is outdated technology. நம்மளுடைய டெக்னாலஜி எப்படி இருக்குது, பழமை வாய்ந்ததாக இருக்குது. The level of technology in agriculture and small scale industries is still outdated and obsolete. They are very, very old. The machines that we use, the equipments that we use are very old. We have to trash them and we have to have new technology. So most of the technologies are outdated in India. So these are the weaknesses of Indian economy. Okay, many people are living in poverty. Our infrastructure is very poor. இப்போ கூட பாருங்க, மழை பெஞ்சதுன்னா தண்ணி உடனே கெட்டிருது. தண்ணி போகிறதுக்கு வசதி இருந்தும் தண்ணி வந்து சரியாக போக மாட்டேங்குது. ஏன்னா நம்மளுடைய ரோட்ஸ் பாருங்க, நம்மளுடைய பஸ்ஸஸ், நம்மளுடைய இன்டர்நெட் கனெக்ஷன் எப்படி இருக்குது. ஃபோன் நிறைய இடத்துல இருந்தால் கூட நம்மளால் பேச முடியல. டவர் இருக்குன்னு சொல்கிறோம், ஆனால் கனெக்டிவிட்டி இல்லை. ஸோ தீஸ் ஆர் ஆல் த வீக்னஸஸ் of Indian economy. So we are seeing the features of Indian economy. First we saw the strengths and now we have seen the weakness. Next is demographic trends in India. Demographic trends in India. What do you mean by demography? Scientific study of the characteristics of population is known as demography. The study of population is called as demography. So what are the various aspects of demographic trends? It is the size of the population, the rate of growth, then we have the birth and the death rates, the density of population, the sex ratio, the life expectancy at birth, and literacy ratio. So let us see the demographic trends in India. First is size of population. Over a period of 100 years, India has quadrupled its population. In terms of size of population, India ranks second in the world after China. India is only about 2.4% of the world's geographical area and contributes less than 1.2% of the world's income, but accommodates about 17.5% of the world's population. See these comparison. இந்தியாவுடைய ஜியாகிரபிக்கல் ஏரியா வென் கம்பேர்ட் டு வேர்ல்ட் லெவல், இந்தியாவுடைய ஏரியா வந்து 2.4% தானா. பாப்புலேஷன் வந்து செகண்ட் டு சைனா. ஓகே, வேர்ல்ட்ஸ் இன்கம்க்கு நம்மளுடைய கான்ட்ரிபியூஷன் வந்து 1.2 தான். நம்மளுடைய ஏரியா இஸ் 2.4%. அவர் கான்ட்ரிபியூஷன் டு த வேர்ல்ட்ஸ் இன்கம் இஸ் 1.2%, but we are accommodating 17.5% of the world's population. ஸோ வேர்ல்டில் இருக்கக்கூடிய கிட்டத்தட்ட 1/5 of the world is in India. 1/5 of the world's population is living in India. So this is about the size of the population. Birth rate and death rate. What do you mean by crude birth rate? It refers to the number of births per 1,000 of population. So it refers to the number of births. How many people are born per 1,000 of population. Crude death rate is, it refers to the population of deaths per 1,000 of population. So here you see a table. In 1951, the birth rate was 39.9, the death rate was 27.4. Then in 2001, the birth rate has declined. It has become 25.4%. The death rate has also declined. Why? Because people started using family planning techniques. Here the death rate has decreased because of invention in medicine, medical facility. We have good sanitation facility. Okay, medicines are available, immunization, vaccination, everything has been done. So the death rate has also decreased, and people have started sensing the importance of small family. Okay, so the birth rate has also decreased. In 2011, it is 21.8%. The crude birth rate is 21.8%, and death rate is, what is the death rate? It is 7.1%. 7.11%. According to 2020 statistics, the crude birth rate has become 18.2 and the crude death rate stands at 17.3. Next is density of population. What do you mean by density of population? Density of population refers to the average number of persons residing per square kilometer. ஒரு ஸ்கொயர் கிலோமீட்டருக்குள்ள எத்தனை பீப்புள் இருக்கிறாங்க, அதுக்கு பேர் தான் டென்சிட்டி ஆஃப் பாப்புலேஷன். இட் ரெப்ரசன்ட்ஸ் த மேன் லேண்ட் ரேஷியோ. ஆஸ் த டோட்டல் லேண்ட் ஏரியா ரிமைன்ஸ் த சேம், அண்ட் இன்க்ரீஸ் இன் த பாப்புலேஷன் காசஸ் டென்சிட்டி ஆஃப் பாப்புலேஷன் டு ரைஸ். ஸோ யூ cannot change the total land area. The total land area will be constant. But when the population increases, what happens? The density of population also increases. So the formula for calculating density of population is total population divided by land area of the region. So in 1951, the density of population was 117 per square kilometer. அப்படின்னா ஒரு ஸ்கொயர் கிலோமீட்டருக்குள்ளே எத்தனை பேர் இருந்தாங்க? 117 பேர் தான் இருந்தாங்க 1951ல. In 2001, in 10 years time, it became 325. So 325 number of persons per square kilometer. In 2011, it became 382 per square kilometer, persons per square kilometer. இப்போ இருக்க ஸ்டாட்டிஸ்டிக்ஸ் பிரகாரம், according to 2020, there are 464 people per square kilometer. So can you see the density of population is increasing because the land area remains constant, but there is an increase in the population. So the density of population also increases. Next, we have the sex ratio. What do you mean by sex ratio? It refers to the number of females per 1,000 males. 1000 ஆண்கள் இருந்தா எத்தனை பெண்கள் இருக்காங்க. It is an important indicator to measure the extent of prevailing equity between males and females at a given point of time. So sex ratio helps us to study the prevailing equity, whether men and women are being treated equally. Male-யும் female-யும் equal-ஆ treat பண்றாங்களா, அதை கண்டறியறதுக்கு we must know the sex ratio. So in 1951, For 1,000 males, there were 946 females. In 2001, for 1,000 males, there are 933. 2011, for 1,000 males, there are 940. So what do you understand by looking at this tabular column? People have started accepting girl children into the family. In those days, girl children were not welcome. People wanted to have only boy babies. Okay? பையன் பிறந்தா அவங்களுக்கு ஒரு பெரிய கொண்டாட்டம், பொண்ணு பிறந்தா என்னது, ஐயோ இதுக்கு நிறைய செலவு பண்ணுமே. ஸோ வாட் பீப்புள் ஸ்டார்டட் டூயிங் இஸ் they indulged in abortion. They tried to find out the sex of the child. வயிற்றுல இருக்கும்போதே குழந்தையுடைய செக்ஸை கண்டுபிடிச்சு உடனே அது என்ன பண்ணிடுறது, அபார்ட் பண்ணிடுறது. That's why sex determination is banned nowadays. You cannot go for a scan nowadays to find out the sex of the baby. Now people have become என்ன சொல்றது, கொஞ்சம் acceptance வந்திருக்கு. People have started accepting girl children. So we have to be happy because our parents have accepted us. That's why we are alive today. So be thankful to God for giving such lovely parents to you. Okay? So இந்த நாளில் இந்த பாடம் படிக்கும்போது just say a small prayer. Thank you Lord for giving me these parents. இவங்க இல்லைன்னா நான் இன்னைக்கு உயிரோடு இருந்திருக்க மாட்டேன். ஒருவேளை நம்ம பெற்றோரும் பையன்தான் வேணும்னு சொல்லியிருந்தாங்கன்னா நம்ம இன்னைக்கு உயிரோடு இருந்திருக்க மாட்டோம். So we have to be thankful for giving such wonderful parents. So just say a prayer for your parents now. Now, according to 2020, 1,080 males இருந்தாங்க, 1,000 females இருக்காங்க. ஸோ செக்ஸ் ரேஷியோ என்ன ஆகிட்டே இருக்கு, ஃபீமேல்ஸ் உடைய பர்சன்டேஜ் இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆகிட்டே இருக்கு. நெக்ஸ்ட் இஸ் லைஃப் எக்ஸ்பெக்டன்சி அட் பர்த். It refers to the mean expectation of life at birth. So people will be, doctors will be able to determine this. ஒரு சராசரியா இந்தியன் எவ்வளவு நாள் உயிரோட வாழ முடியும். Life expectancy has improved over the years. So in 1951, ஒரு சராசரியா ஒரு ஆண் 32 years வாழ முடியும், ஃபீமேல் 31.7. So overall it was 32 years. So 1951ல 32 வயசு வந்தாலே ஒரு பெரிய சாதனை. 1991 male it was 58.6, female increase ஆயிடுச்சு 59. So the overall life expectancy stood at 58.7 years. Then in 2001 it was 62.5. In 2011 it is 63.5. And now in 2020 it is 69.27. The life expectancy is also increasing. That means people are eating balanced diet, nutritious meal. We have good health and hygiene facilities. Sanitation facility has increased. Infrastructure நல்லா இருக்குது. Medication, vaccination. சரியா, அதனால life expectancy என்ன ஆயிருக்கு, increase ஆயிருக்கு. Then we have the literacy ratio. It refers to the number of literates as a percentage of total population. எவ்வளோ பேர் படிச்சிருக்காங்க. So in 1951 it was 8.9%. Totally, females were 8.9, males 27.2, literate people were 18.3%. In 2001 it was 64.8. 2011 it stands at 74.04. Now the literacy ratio is 77.7. So the literacy rate has also increased. In 1951, only 1/4 of the males and 1/12 of the females were literates. Thus, on an average, only 1/6 of the people of the country were literates. 6 பேர் இருந்தாங்கன்னா ஒருத்தர் தான் கல்வி அறிவு பெற்றவர்களா இருந்தாங்க. In 2011, 82% of males and 65.5% of females were literates, giving an overall literacy rate of 74.04%. When compared to other developed countries and even Sri Lanka, this rate is very low. So the literacy ratio rate or the literacy rate in India is very low when compared to other developed countries like Sri Lanka. Okay, so this is about the demographic trends in India. So today we have seen the features of Indian economy, the strengths of Indian economy, the weakness of Indian economy, and the demographic trends in India. I think we'll stop with this. Thank you, girls.